Hello, everyone. Welcome to Homeland Security Today's Profiles in Excellence. Happy Valentine's Day. I was wearing a little red today to commemorate Valentine's Day. For many, it's not that happy of a day given the shootings in Michigan, and we see threats all around the nation attacking our most vulnerable spots. So today, it is extremely timely to recognize and talk a little bit with Curtis Tilley, who is the branch chief of the Office of Bombing Prevention at the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency within the Department of Homeland Security. In December, Mr. Tilley won an Excellence in Outreach for the federal government for his program around bombing prevention. So great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
It was wonderful to recognize him in December at our annual awards. He was nominated and selected from hundreds of nominations for programs around the country that are really making a tangible difference in American lives. So we're seeing that those are more and more necessary. And as a matter of fact, his award was particularly to recognize the work he did when there were some bomb threats against historically Black colleges and universities. So he planned the communication strategy, the use of resources, working with the schools, and assuring we didn't see a tragedy at one of these universities. So tell us a little bit more about the project.
Yeah, certainly. So again, thank you for this. Thank you for the award. So as you said, my name's Kurt Tilley. I am the branch chief for the training branch within the Office for Bombing Prevention. Within the office, it is our responsibility and our mission to prevent, protect, mitigate, and respond to bombing incidents. And this includes the bomb threat. And it's not just, all of the IEDs and actual bombing incidents that occur in the country. But what many people fail to realize is that just a bomb threat has psychological impacts, it has operational impacts, it has financial impacts. So responding to and dealing with that threat alone is also a big part of our mission. In 2022, specifically right around this time last year in January and February, late January, early February, we saw an unusual spike in bomb threats targeting historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, of a little over 100 HBCUs that exist in the country. Within a 2-week time frame, over 30 of them received threats, many of them receiving multiple threats. This was a huge spike from previous years where we might see 50 or 60 bomb threats to all of higher education. And so we saw more than that number in a 2-week time span targeting just HBCUs. So for us, it became very important to reach out, to connect with every HBCU, to offer them awareness products, to offer them training, and anything that we could do, again, in that mitigate part of our mission response. So that's exactly what we did. We found different ways. We did national level webinars targeting HBCUs. We did different events where we went on site with different HBCUs, several different things, ways that we could connect. We were able to, one of the things that we did in the training branch that I think was really significant, we have the capability to do what we call just-in-time training, meaning that we take our standardized training that we have, that we offer all the time, and we can quickly adapt it and recreate it to where it is directed towards that emerging threat that's occurring. And that's what we did in this case. And we came up with about an hour-long, very relevant introduction to bomb threat management course that we were able to deliver virtually to over 1,000 individuals. We're targeting multiple HBCUs at once. We did an event with the AUCC, which is a coalition of HBCUs in Atlanta, in which we were able to do both an in-person and virtual event that had 30 plus HBCUs attend that, with a couple hundred people. So we were able to really do multiple things and find multiple ways to communicate with this key stakeholder. And then we were able to utilize that throughout the year as we continued to see spikes in bomb threats against higher education, other institutes of higher education. We were able to apply some of those same tactics and things that we did with the HBCUs early in the year throughout the rest of the year as we saw this threat continue to grow.
Well, and the training that you provide, really seeing something early or seeing something suspicious can literally save a tremendous number of lives.
Absolutely. We train on everything from recognizing that suspicious activity, understanding how to recognize something that is suspicious versus unattended, understanding how to respond to the threat, how to assess the threat, to understand that you don't have to evacuate every time. So you can mitigate the psychological impacts by correctly assessing the threat, by responding to it, if it's by phone, how to receive the call. So we offer all of those different trainings and different aspects that really are all targeting that mitigation piece.
And what would you say for this program in particular? What was the greatest challenge?
I think the challenge probably is just one, we're trying to do it while the threat is ongoing, right? And so we work on what we like to say left of boom. So we're on the preventive and protective side, where our other federal partners like the FBI and others are on the investigative side. And so while the investigation is ongoing into these threats, and we're still in the middle of the campaign that's happening, we're also trying to mitigate and prevent and protect right at the same time. So I think that's a challenge anytime that you're in the middle of an incident, but you're trying to train people on how to respond to that incident while it's happening. So and then just the sheer, 100 over 100 HBCUs spread out across the country, and trying to find ways to reach and connect with each one of them, and their own individual nuances of how they do security, how they handle things. So trying to adapt and develop things that work for each one of them individually.
Absolutely. And so as we see, the Michigan students recovering from this tragedy yesterday, others around the country, we were just talking that it seems like something's happening every day. How can people prepare themselves? Not just for bombing, I mean, for any tragedy. Is there a way that do you have advice for people on how they can prepare themselves so they're not necessarily scared, but they're prepared?
Yeah, so I think that in itself, in that word, that's the key, right? So the understanding that these things are happening and do happen, right? And unfortunately, our institutes of higher education have become a target, whether it's active shooters or bomb threats or bombing incidents. And so preparation is the key. And so whether that's taking some training, whether it is familiarizing yourself with different ways, really it's just heightened alert, and it's awareness, and it's being aware and understanding what is suspicious, understanding what your normal baseline is, and when something feels suspicious. And then the second part of that is really, and this is a discussion we've had with a lot of college age students as we've worked through this year, and that is having the courage to report it. So once you see something, once you understand something, and you recognize, hey, that's not right, or that's suspicious, it's having that courage to take the next step, which is actually report it and say, hey, this doesn't feel right. Hey, this doesn't look right. Hey, and there's a lot of colleges who have really instituted some very dynamic and unique ways that students can report, whether it's through text, whether it's through apps on the college, whether it's through whatever. And so really that's the key, I think, for me is understanding, being prepared and recognizing that those suspicious activity, but really encouraging that you take that next step and you report it.
So what do you say to people who say, oh, I don't want to do a false alarm. It's probably nothing, because that is kind of our initial instinct. We don't want to get everybody worked up for nothing. But what do you say to that?
So I can tell you, I've been in this position for 10 years. Prior to that, I did a full career as a law enforcement officer. I'm a retired state trooper out of West Virginia. And so having spent a lifetime in this field, I can tell you that we will always welcome any reports. Let us determine the validity. Let us determine what that, how valid it is, how essential it is, because you might feel like what you are seeing really has no value, but it might be the final piece to a much larger puzzle that we're waiting for and looking for. So, you may be seeing one small thing that is that one thing that really pulls everything else in the investigation together.
So there really is no false alarm, and they should let you know as soon as, or let someone of authority know about anything that they consider suspicious. Yeah, what is the saying? If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck. So, well, that's amazing. Well, I just want to thank you for your time today. I know that you're a very busy person, and certainly we just want to congratulate you again on your award for excellence in federal outreach, because this is certainly a terrible threat. Wish that we didn't have to have the Office for Bombing and Prevention. I know you could be doing other things, but instead you're devoting your retired life to continuing to serve the country and everyone. So we can't appreciate you enough and let you know enough how much your work makes a difference. So is there anywhere you direct people if they wanted to learn more about bombing prevention or what CISA is doing on bombing prevention?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think the quickest way is just our website, which is CISA.gov /OBP. That will take you to Office for Bombing Prevention. And from there, you can search our trainings. You can search all the products that we have. You can search all the other resources that the office has as well. But certainly, thank you. And thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, of course. Excellent. And we'll put that website address on the end of the slide. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful Valentine's Day.
All right. Thank you, Christina.